Anyone watching this video should never agree to any of the 12 things I'm going to talk about today when selling your home. My name is Anthony Johnson, and I've been selling real estate now professionally for over 10 years. Let's get started. One of the biggest mistakes that so many homeowners make once their house is listed is thinking that everybody has good intentions when it comes to their home. And the reality is pretty simple. They don't. Remember, these people are strangers. When your home is listed live, every viewing should be scheduled through your agent. That's one of the reasons that you're paying them. And more than likely, you're paying them really well. If somebody knocks on your door randomly to see your home, the answer is pretty simple. It's not maybe, not if they're nice, not even if they seem trustworthy. The answer is no, because all it takes is one bad experience. I know it's your home, but once it becomes listed, it's now a business transaction that you have with another person. In this case, a real estate professional is now your representative. Treat it like a business and make sure that your agent does their job. This is all completely harmless until something goes wrong. We always want to give everybody the best experience at our house because you're trying to sell it. Well, let's think about this logically. What if they hit a wall? What if they hit a garage door? Or they try to create an insurance claim on something they hit when you're trying to sell your home? This is life. This is how real estate works. Things can happen, and oftentimes they will when we least expect it. The garage doors can be measured, and their vehicle dimensions can also be measured. That's how we let buyers test drive their vehicle. The answer should always be no. Protect yourself, be smart about it. This is a very dangerous mistake that I've actually seen people make in the past, and trust me, you don't want to get involved in this ever. Sometimes the buyers are really going to pry to really try and make this work for them. They may say things like, my lease ends before closing. I don't want to move twice. And though I understand the situation, their inconvenience should never be your liability. Ever. What if their financing falls through before the closing date? Now suddenly you have someone in your house that you have to evict out of your house. They now become a tenant at sufferance. The rule is pretty simple. If we don't close, you don't get the keys, you don't get to move in. No, 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 no. Until the transaction is officially closed, keep it simple. Don't let them in. This one's actually a bit surprising. Sometimes as we get closer to the closing table, sellers, they already start to move out. They think the deal is done, so they give in. But keep this in mind, until you actually close on the deal, it's not done yet. So if a buyer asks to bring a contractor in before closing to start making some changes, just keep it simple, say no. I know this may seem harmless, but it's not. Let's think about this. What happens if the contractor gets hurt on the property? What happens if they end up damaging something additional? What happens if they end up damaging something that wasn't part of the project that they were going to work on? Worst case, what happens if something falls apart and the contractor is right in the middle of the work? You think the buyer is going to continue paying them? Just remember, until it closes, the home is still your liability. Any type of remodel can wait. No matter how excited the buyer is about your home, no matter what their agent may be saying to you, it doesn't matter. You need to close on the deal first before anything gets done. One of the oldest tricks in the book is offering a strong offer up front, but then after inspections, trying to renegotiate the price. Sometimes there are legitimate concerns that do need to be addressed, but sometimes they're just minor things that buyers are just trying to nickel and dime you on. As a seller, you need to separate real concerns from minor concerns. If a buyer discovers a major foundation concern, water damage, mold, a failing septic system, those are major concerns. Most sellers are aware of these items before they list their property, but if they're not and it gets noticed during the inspection period, then you need to understand that it's likely that you're going to have these items addressed. But if they're just trying to chip away at the price because they think that you're going to fold under pressure, don't give into that ever. Let's never assume that every single request deserves a conversation. Review the evidence and get a second opinion if necessary. And remember, the agreed upon price originally, that's still the contract until things are altered. I see this happen all the time, and it's not just a bad decision, it's a terrible decision. Someone's brother, uncle, cousin, best friend, they just got their real estate license, and now we feel obligated to use them. Have you ever wondered why we feel obligated to use them? This is a serious problem. Selling your home is likely one of the biggest decisions that you're ever gonna make in your life. Doesn't it make sense to interview multiple people to make sure that you have the best person that's representing you? To make sure that they have a proven track record of success and that they have your best interest at heart? You need to ask the tough questions. You need to compare their plans. You need to find out who's going to be the best fit for you and your situation. Not the person that you feel obligated to help because a friend, a neighbor, a family member says that this is the right thing to do. This is another area where sellers are just trying to make everyone happy. They interview 2 agents, they liked them both, so they said, whatever, let's just hire both of them. At this point, the responsibility then becomes blurred. Who's handling negotiations? Who's handling the marketing? Who's communicating with the buyers? Who's accountable if something goes wrong? The more people involved, the more opportunity that something is going to go wrong. One property, one strategy, one clear person of accountability. That's usually the safest and best path. Most real estate transactions last anywhere from 30 to 45 days. If it's a cash deal, oftentimes it can happen even less than that. If buyers are starting to ask for 60, 90, 120 days, you should be asking yourself, why? The longer a transaction stays open, the more likelihood that something can and probably will go wrong. Interest rates change, jobs change, sometimes things in the family changes, finances could fall apart, unexpected repairs in their life on their vehicles and other things start to happen. Life happens. And when this happens, if there's any loophole for the buyer to be able to back out, there's a good chance they may do that. When you have a shorter timeline for closing, these things generally don't happen and deals get done. So to keep it simple, remember, if someone wants a longer than normal expected closing time period, you should always ask why and make sure that you have some clarification as to a proper justification on making this happen. Never assume a pre-approval is the end of the story and that buyer is 100% certified. I know, it sucks and it probably doesn't make any sense. I can't tell you how many deals I've been in where I personally have asked the lender themselves to make sure that buyer was good and they give me the 100% thumbs up that these guys are solid. Now, let me preface this. These weren't my lenders. These were lenders that the buyers have had relationships with, whether it's them or their family for years, and they told me they were good, but personally, I've never used them. And they said they were good to go. And here we are, 3-4 weeks into the deal, and come to find out, they weren't good. At no fault of the buyer, the lender, they just didn't do their job. So, as a seller, make sure that you're asking your agent to vet that lender. Make sure they know who they are, that they're trustworthy, that they actually have a solid pre-approval, that their assets have been verified, that they're actually making money, that they can actually get this deal done. Most agents, they have a list of lenders that they prefer, and likely they will have their clients utilize at least one of the many options that they have because they know that if they use them, the deal is going to get done correctly. Remember this, just because you have a strong offer, if that lender isn't good and you don't know them, sometimes it's not in your best interest to take that offer. So do your due diligence. Furniture is one of the easiest ways for a deal to now become even more emotional. The buyer's asking for the patio furniture, they're asking for the hot tub, they're asking for the couch, the bed set, all of it. And here's where the big issue lies. Is the seller knows what they paid for it, they know how well they've taken care of the furniture over the years, and the buyer, they have a completely different perception on what its true value is. Now suddenly, everyone becomes frustrated over a couch. If buyers are interested in furniture, make it a completely separate part of the transaction. Make a bill of sale, something that you can deal with on the side after closing. Sometimes buyers will try to negotiate a price, especially if they're paying cash, based on how much furniture is actually in the house. But don't let this get in the way of the real estate transaction because we need to remember this is about a piece of real estate. None of the extra fixings that come with the house or that may not be included with the house should alter any part of this agreement because the buyer is there to buy the house and the seller is there to sell the house. So let's keep it simple, keep the personal items in a separate sale, and keep the real estate transaction focused on the real estate. Contingent offers are really common in the real estate world and they're not going anywhere. But we need to be aware of the red flags when they present themselves so we don't get ourselves in a bind when trying to sell our house. This is real estate. Sometimes deals just don't work, and sometimes they do. The question that you need to ask yourself when selling your house is if you're going to accept the contingent offer, is the house on the market? If it is on the market, how long has it been on the market? Is it priced too aggressively? Is the marketing plan in place? Is the agent on the other side aggressive? Are they actually trying to sell it? If it's been sitting for too long, months, maybe close to a year, this is a serious red flag and you should consider not taking that offer. So before accepting any contingent offers, understand exactly what's going on in the background to make sure that you're actually accepting a deal that can actually close, so you're not putting your house as pending and letting it sit there for a long period of time while losing any other potential buyers that may want to buy your house. Just because it's a strong contingent offer based on the price doesn't necessarily mean it's the best offer, because the more time your house sits on the market and doesn't sell, if it does come back on the market as pending to active, there's a good chance that people are now going to offer you less money. And if you had a smaller offer up front, that may have actually been the better offer in the first place. This may seem controversial, but let me explain. If you accept the first offer that's thrown at you, you may be leaving money on the table. However, sometimes the first offer is an amazing offer and one that you just can't turn down. And I'm not saying turn those ones down. If you have your house listed at $400,000 and you get a crazy offer like $440,000 or $450,000 and it's all cash, and the market value of your house is say $410,000, well, you'd be an idiot not to take it. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you've invested time into updating your house, getting it ready for the market, and doing all these things to make sure that you get the best offer, then why not let all that hard work pay off? A buyer who's trying to pressure you into taking their offer immediately, they're doing it for a reason. They're trying to get you emotional. They're trying to get you to feel as if you're not going to get any other offers, and this is the only one, so you better take it. There's a simple strategy that us as agents like to utilize in this scenario. We know that if we get one good offer, if we have other people that are going to come to the house and they've already set up showings, we're going to utilize that offer to then let the other agents know that, hey, listen, I do have an offer in hand, so if your client's interested, be sure that you think through it thoroughly. And what this is going to do is going to naturally tell that buying agent that they better present to their buyer the fact that they know there's another offer, and if that buyer's interested, well, they better come to the table and they better present a good offer. Here's the thing though, the buying agent, they have no idea what that offer is. It could be a completely crap offer. But if the agent presents it correctly, it's going to let that agent know that likely it's a good offer. If the buyer wants it, then they better come to the plate swinging for the fence, because if not, they may lose the offer. And this is how we can take a potentially crappy offer and make it a really, really good offer. Utilize all that hard work that you put into the house to your advantage. We want you to sell that house to make a lot of money because you deserve it. If you've ever dealt with any of these issues, I'd love to hear your story. Drop me a comment down below. I respond to all of my comments. If you want to know what 10 features are killing your resale value, check out this video right here. I know it'll bring a lot of value to you.